Hello, everyone. Well, this was an exciting women's tournament, I must say. I'm very sorry it ended. Obviously, Caitlin Clark, girl, what you did is incredible, really. You're a fantastic athlete. But South Carolina was a little bit too big, too late in the tournament because, well, people forget who are not athletes. They forget that after a lot of successes in a row, I think there was an emotional exhaustion after the game against LSU, which was tough, and no one expected you to win. And good news can be as exhausting as bad news, really, because your energy sources sort of empty, your adrenaline is spent. And sometimes that shows up in a game like against South Carolina. Caitlin was exhausted, I think. And she was guarded by a very, very good, very athletic, I forget her name, from South Carolina, Gamecocks. And of course, Cardozo she's just too big. Whoa. Difficult to score against her, very difficult. So, but nevertheless, I think that Iowa and Caitlin ran out of gas a little bit. Will they have beaten South Carolina? Well, they did last year. So you never know. I love that about sports. You just never know. Anyway, congratulations. We all, millions, enjoyed it. And you put women's basketball on the map, period. And it always takes a star in some sport to really drive it, like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird at the time. Yeah, and before that, Jerry West and Elgin Baylor and Oscar Robertson and all those players, but it always takes a star to drive a sport. And Caitlin, you've done it. And so is Angel Reese, LSU. Whether that will translate to the women's NBA, different story. Time will tell. If they could establish a rivalry in the pro leagues, then people will watch, Anyway, I loved it. Loved every moment of it. Who will win tonight? Purdue or Connecticut? I would not prognosticate, nor do I really care. I just want to see a damn good game. I have no emotional ties to either one of those teams, and they're just both damn good. So if UCLA were involved, that's a different story. I'm an old Bruin fan, okay, going back 60 years, going back to the time of John Wooden. Yeah, those were the days. Never to be seen again at UCLA, never. For a while, they had an athletic director who didn't know his ass from a hole in the ground, and always hired the wrong people. And now, of course, what happens in college athletics, a lot of them go to the pros early on. In the old days, Kareem stayed at UCLA, Bill Walton stayed at UCLA, and nowadays, maybe that'll change now that athletes are allowed to make money. And I think that's a good idea. It's not a bad idea at all. Because why should people risk their lives and their health in 2 or 3 or 4 years of playing at a university level without getting compensated? While schools make a fortune, and whilst people, last night I saw a documentary about the Michigan Fab Five and Weber and Jalen Rose and fabulous players, incredible players. What a team. Well, they never made enough money, really, without driving old jalopies, and not that that isn't a good experience when you're young, but when you work as hard as these athletes do, because they're really trained like pros when they play in college. Really, they train daily. It's exhausting, and I think they should not have to worry about where they get the next meal from. So I'm all for this new idea of compensating athletes who bring a lot of people into the stadiums. Anyway, having said that, when I compare that with how we grew up after the war in Germany, oh my God, man. I loved sports, but we had to pay. We didn't have a lot of money. We had to pay to join a club. Train just as hard, really. Well, not quite. I didn't have the leisure and the time, or the food, really. Oh my God, but I remember the time. It all changed because America came to the rescue after the Second World War and created the Marshall Plan, which made sure that we all had jobs and enough food, eventually. One of the greatest economic assistance given to an entire continent, and to Germany, of course, which became the engine of the European Union. So now I segue into Ukraine. We need to help them, guys. Don't trust Putin. That guy's so full of shit. He wants to conquer other countries. That's all. That's all these guys want to do. He has always wanted to do that. So take what he said and prognosticate it. Take it seriously, because he will do it. We need to support Ukraine. Because if that SOB conquers Ukraine, good luck to the rest of Europe. I think it's only an inevitability then that he will go after Poland and Lithuania and Estonia and Romania and etc. Just a question of time. Guys like that get encouraged. All they respect is power. Respect nothing else. And the fact that there's some idiots in Congress, and of course our former loudmouth, supporting Putin, proves to you how successful Putin's disinformation campaign has been in America. Enormously successful, to the point where amongst the Republicans, they're supporting Putin. Have you ever known of an American president supporting a Russian president, especially someone who has aggressive tendencies? Are you kidding? My God, Ronald Reagan would turn in his grave. So would Bush. I knew them both. My goodness. Would they talk and praise Putin? No, they wouldn't. Why do you think that happened? Because someone was financially helped and supported by the Russian oligarchs and billionaires. Anyway, that's a different story. I want to go into that. So, I wish you all a wonderful day. It's beautiful out here. I guess a lot of you saw the eclipse. I did not in California. I was getting my second to last infusion of BCG into my bladder to fight the damn cancer. But I'm doing well, very well. All right? So I love this country. Remember how much good you have done. And also remember the mistakes we have made. That's a whole different story. Mostly, to me, America is a wonderful country and has welcomed so many people from all over the world who have all contributed enormously to the success of this country. Now, for years, we didn't know how much German immigrants had contributed. They were the largest ethnic group in America, but we kept that largely out of the news because of the Second World War. So my dear fellow German immigrants who have come here over the years have done an enormous amount to contribute to America and its stability. And America, in an indirect way, came to Germany's support after the Second World War, after ridding Germany of Nazism and of the terror Hitler, and then America rebuilt Germany and Europe. I'll be forever grateful for that. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, we have a democracy in the larger parts of Europe. That is why. And because of Harry Truman, we established NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, where initially about 12 or 13 countries got together to form a defensive alliance in Europe against communism, against Russian expansion. Remember it. Don't let anyone talk you out of NATO, especially not someone who doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground about foreign policy like the former president. He didn't know a damn thing. And don't listen to crackpots like that other guy, that Steve Bannon character. My goodness. I don't know. These guys admire the Orbans of the world, and Erdogan, and Bolsonaro of Brazil, and now there's new nutcase in Argentina. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Remember, democracy is the best. And we have the best foundation, the most humane foundation created by our Constitution. And no one should rattle and shake our institutions without paying a big price for it. No one should go to the center of democracy, our capital, and try to conquer it by force and get away with it. Never. America is strong. It's like a sleeping giant. Don't wake him up. And basically, it's a country of decency and democratic values. Let's not forget that. All right. Enough said. I'm feeling pretty damn good and well, and not always good, but I feel well. I remember learning English in school and having to differentiate between feeling good and well. So I feel well. Not good all the time. We all make mistakes here and there, but I feel well right now, okay? You be cool. God bless you all. Love it.